tonight, students react to the new Troy University app.
Plus, the Johnson Center for the Arts has a new interactive exhibit. Stay tuned, TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for January 18, 2012. I'm Tiffany Lester.
And I'm Courtney Steele. Thank you for joining us this evening. Flyers were posted all over campus and students received emails informing them of the new Troy University mobile app. Today I got a chance to ask students about the new app to find out just how useful it is for them. With the new Troy University mobile app up and running, students have more interaction with their Troy campuses right from their pockets using their iPhones, iPads, and their iPod Touch. Students shared just how convenient having the mobile app is for them.
I ain't got to go to Troy.edu and go through current students and scroll down to all these things. I can just go right to it. If I need something quick or look on class schedule or look for what's school doing or something, just go straight to it.
As a new student to Troy, sophomore Jana Allen tells how the new app helps her find her way around campus.
If I'm late for a class or I don't know where all my classes are, I can just look because your schedule will tell you what class or what building you're in, and being new, you don't know where everything is, and the schedule tells you right where the buildings are, and it's labeled really so you can reader friendly, so you can tell where everything is.
While it seems that students find the Maps button to be a favorite section on the app, there are other sections that they find useful as well.
I love to look at the athletics and everything. I don't live on campus, so it's easy for me to keep up with sports and everything that way and all the news that's going on campus.
I did really like how they're going to sync the Blackboard to it so that instead of having to keep up with your emails necessarily through your troy.edu or having to go home to a home computer if you don't have access to a laptop or an on-campus computer, it'll be able to something you can carry around in your pocket with you that anytime you have assignments posted to Blackboard, anytime you have syllabuses, you can do it directly from your handheld. It makes it very convenient.
Students said there are a lot of beneficial components to the app, but if there was one thing that they could change, it would be
nothing. I love it. I love how you can get on your email and check everything with your instructors, and I wouldn't add anything.
I would try to just add personalized, just some custom things, to fit your personality.
Some videos, maybe of things like, maybe a sporting event, not necessarily a full game, but maybe highlights of a sporting event.
The University app is free and available now from the iTunes App Store. For those of you who do not have the necessary Apple products, an Android and BlackBerry version will be available soon.
With a new semester underway, the SGA is ready to start it off with a new Supreme Court Justice. Rachel Scarborough has the story.
Tuesday night, the Student Government Association met for its first time in the new school semester. And after the senators took their seats, it was down to business, confirming a new position on the Supreme Court.
Well, tonight I nominated Will Thompson as the new Supreme Court Chief Justice. Our previous Supreme Court Chief Justice was Stephen Boyston, and he graduated, and so we need to fill that slot. And what the Chief Justice is just someone to organize all the Supreme Court hearings and getting the other justices scheduled for that. And I know Will Thompson is a good guy. He's a strong leader. He's dedicated. He's a sophomore, but he's proven himself time and time again, and I know he's the perfect person for the job.
The new Supreme Court Justice hopes to see the senators and Supreme Court work on more things together.
Well, I certainly want the court to have a more active role in the Student Government Association, and there's many ways that we can do that. I could talk a lot more about those. One of the things that we're going to work to do is helping the Senate in drafting a constitution that falls along the guidelines of one that would be acceptable, one that would fit within the current guidelines of the Constitution that we have now.
One thing that both the Supreme Court and SGA agree on is that the Constitution needs to be revised to show the growth over the past few years.
It's just the makeup of the SGA. Troy University is growing in the student population size, and the SGA needs to reflect that. And also we want to make sure that what's written down is conducive to not only us, but what's going to be conducive to students in the future and the SGAs in the future. And so we don't want to be constrained by all these little rules that we have to do. We want it to be open enough where we can, kind of do what we need to get done in our ways and leave it up to the Senate to make their own rules in the Code of Laws.
Rachel Scarborough, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The SGA meets every Tuesday at 6:30 in the Hall of Honor. And brass rubbing may not be a common form of art that you would expect to see in a museum. However, at the new exhibit at the Johnson Center for the Arts, you'll see just that.
Christina Cooks tells us about 2 new exhibits that are currently on display and call for a little interaction from visitors.
Kicking off the new year, the Johnson Center for the Arts revealed their 3rd exhibit earlier this week, showcasing 2 very prominent artists in the state of Alabama and their unique collections.
Right now we have the Audubon collection and the Brass Rubbings collection. The Audubon collection is from John James Audubon from the Jewel Collins Smith Museum of Fine Art at Auburn University. And our Brass Rubbings collection is actually from Miss Ann Kelly Williams right here in Troy, Alabama, and it is sponsored by Troy University.
With John James Audubon being a scientist first and an artist second, many of his paintings were inspired by his love of animals. Audubon is universally recognized as providing one of the earliest and most accurate records of American wildlife.
All of his pieces, he has several different collections, and most of the pieces we have are from his Birds of America collection, and he's really loved nature.
The second exhibit takes a historical turn as the Brass Rubbings collection by Ann Williams display many well-known figures throughout history.
She traveled to England and Scotland and Belgium to these different cathedrals where they had monumental brasses of different knights and families and royalty. She would actually take the construction paper and the heel ball wax and rub on the monumental brasses to create these pieces.
Christina Cook, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The Johnson Center is open 10 to 5 Tuesday through Saturday. The Brass Rubbings exhibit will be up until April 19th, and the Audubon exhibit will close on March 7th.
And now taking a look at news from around the state, authorities say they filed more charges against a retired Shelby County school teacher who has sexually abused female students throughout his career. Alabaster police say today they have filed 2 more sexual abuse charges against 49-year-old Danny Acker. He was a 4th grade teacher from 1985 until 2009.
The Alabama legislature won't follow its usual practice of having budget hearings before the legislative session starts February 7th. Budget committee chairmen say they are delaying budget hearings until the session starts because budget cuts will be necessary.
Alabama hopes to partner with the builders of the Foley Beach Express to construct an elevated bridge over Gulf State Park that would give beach traffic a straight shot to the Gulf. The mayor unveiled the plan at the city's town hall meeting last night.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, it's midweek and Trojan fans only have one more day to wait until they see the basketball teams in action again. Daniel Percival will be in with all the details in sports.
But first, Republican candidates are attacking each other in efforts to bring down the frontrunner. More on that after the break.
With fewer than 3 days to go before South Carolina's primary, Republican presidential hopefuls are in a last-minute grab for conservative voters. I'm Susan McGinnis in Washington. I'll have that story coming up.
The first must-have app of 2012 is here. The Troy University app, available at the iTunes App Store, puts information and interaction with Troy University at your fingertips even when you're on the go. Whether you're a student, a faculty or staff member, alumni, or a friend of Troy University, you'll find the Troy app indispensable. Students can work on online classes and get information about courses. Plus, there are campus maps, a staff directory with email and phone numbers, information about athletics, news, and much more. Get it today. The Troy University app for iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch.
Do you like this top? It's so gay.
Really?
Yeah, it's totally gay.
You know, you really shouldn't say that.
Say what?
Well, say that something's gay when you mean it's bad. It's insulting. What if every time something was bad, everybody said, "Oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top"?
Oh, you are.
Those are cute jeans, though. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we go to Tiffany Lester at the Global News Desk. Tiffany?
With just 3 days to go until the South Carolina primary, a new CBS News poll shows Mitt Romney with a solid national lead. His Republican rivals are continuing to attack him while also turning up the heat on each other. Susan McGinnis reports from Washington, D.C.
Mitt Romney had reason to smile as he rallied supporters at a South Carolina college. A new CBS New York Times poll shows Romney pulling ahead of the competition among Republican primary voters nationwide.
If there's ever been a time the nation needs a real leader who knows how to turn things around, it's now.
With just 3 days until South Carolina's primary, the other candidates are running out of time to catch the frontrunner. They're taking jabs at the multimillionaire's admission that he pays an income tax rate of about 15%, a rate much lower than many Americans.
We're going to name our flat tax the Mitt Romney 15% flat tax.
The other Republican candidates also argue Mitt Romney is too moderate to beat President Obama. And as they try to win over conservative voters, they're attacking each other.
Newt Gingrich insists he has the best chance of beating Romney and says it would be helpful if Rick Santorum and Rick Perry dropped out.
If conservatives come together, we beat Romney decisively. If conservatives are split, he might squeak through with a plurality.
But Santorum argues he has a better shot than the former House Speaker.
The arrogance of Speaker Gingrich to suggest that I don't have the experience to run a campaign, to win a national campaign. I finished tied for first in Iowa. He finished fourth.
Rick Perry says he isn't going anywhere either. They meet again Thursday for a final debate before the South Carolina primary. Susan McGinnis, CBS News, Washington, D.C.
Veterans from several states along the East Coast came to Washington Wednesday for a job fair designed just for them. More than 20 private companies and dozens of federal agencies were on hand to help them find work. Terrell Brown introduces us to one Iraq veteran who's ready to find his next calling.
Iraq War veteran Brian Harley is fighting to find a new job.
In a lot of ways, it's kind of a shame that anyone has to, let alone a veteran.
Since he left the Marines in 2005, he's been in and out of work. Right now, he's unemployed.
I have 3 degrees in professional cooking and baking, homeland security management, and marketing management. But after
all of that, you still are having a hard time finding a job.
Yes.
According to the Veterans Administration, more than 13% of those who served in Iraq and Afghanistan are currently unemployed. The Obama administration is taking steps to get service members working again, offering tax credits to employers who hire veterans, and hosting job fairs like this one. About 6,500 jobs are up for grabs at this event. Veterans who don't find a match with an employer are offered one-on-one career counseling and help building their resumes. The VA has a new website designed to get veterans to explain their military experience in a way that impresses civilian managers. Harley says his resume is one of his biggest challenges.
The little side skills that I have, I can't really translate that over because that wasn't my primary focus.
Harley says he'd like to find a job doing something he's passionate about, helping other veterans. He spent time looking for positions with organizations that serve former members of the military. And the VA is ready to help too.
You might want to tailor your resume.
They're planning to hold veterans job fairs like this one from coast to coast in the months ahead. Terrell Brown, CBS News, Washington.
11 people are dead and 21 still missing from the cruise ship that ran aground off the coast of Italy. Officials are starting to identify the victims as rescuers wait to restart their search. Correspondent Anna Matranga has the latest from Giglio, Italy.
Rescue workers say the chances of finding anyone alive inside the wrecked Costa Concordia are slim.
The miracle is possible, but the real possibility is quite to zero.
Corrado Camerini is in charge of a special cave rescue team brought in to navigate through the murky water inside the ship.
You can see your hands in front of your mask, nothing more.
Rescue efforts stopped Wednesday after rough seas moved the cruise liner. Officials say if the ship slips off the rocks, fuel could leak.
This barge is loaded with equipment that will help Dutch crews drain 500,000 gallons of fuel from the cruise liner.
That process is not expected to begin until rescue and recovery efforts are over. One of the 11 victims has been identified as a Hungarian musician who worked on board. He went back to his cabin to get his violin. Family members are arriving on the island of Giglio looking for their loved ones.
I hope I find some more information. I know that the rescue team is doing their jobs. They're doing a good job.
Kevin Rebello says he's more concerned with finding his brother than pointing fingers. The captain of the Costa Concordia, Francesco Schettino, is under house arrest and faces several charges, including causing the shipwreck. Anna Matranga, CBS News, Giglio, Italy.
And that wraps things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, including how TV personality Stephen Colbert is planning to get votes in the South Carolina primary, you can stay tuned in the TrojanVision Global News right after the nightly news. Now back to you, Courtney.
Thanks, Tiffany. Now Danielle Percival joins us with a look at sports. So Danielle, this past weekend, both the men's and women's basketball team were at home, and it looks like fans have another opportunity to see them again at home very soon.
Well, that's right. There were lots of people who turned out to see the game on Saturday. Hopefully just as many will turn out to see them in action tomorrow, so let's get into that game. Despite a loss to in-state rival South Alabama Saturday night, the men's basketball team still sits above 500 when playing on their home court. And lucky for them, they'll be back at home tomorrow night. The Trojans are 4-3 on the court in Sartain Hall. However, none of those wins have come in conference play. The Trojans have dropped their first two home conference matchups against Middle Tennessee and South Alabama, two of the top three teams in the Eastern Division standings in the Sun Belt. And on Thursday, they'll be up against the other team in that top three, Florida Atlantic. Head coach Don Maestri knows there are some areas his team needs to work on before they take on the Owls.
Obviously, we have to shoot the ball better than we have in the past. That's been our Achilles heel. The nights that we have poor shooting nights, we normally don't win. So we'll have to shoot the ball better, and I think we'll have to play harder. We'll have to defend better. They don't have one Goldstein; they have two or three. So they really have some good shooters on Florida Atlantic. So we have to really be able to move and hustle and cover each other up, help each other out, and defensively, we'll have to play a lot better also.
The next chance to catch the Trojans in action is tomorrow night in Sartain Hall, as they are set to take on Florida Atlantic with tip-off at 7:30. And the women's basketball team is now 0-5 in conference play after a close loss to the South Alabama Jaguars. The Trojans have only managed one win on the season, but have had 7 games where they lost by 10 or less. The team was down by as many as 17 to the Jaguars, but was able to cut the lead down to 5 with less than a minute to go. Head coach Mike Murphy says that shows that his team will continue to fight.
You could very easily fold up your tent and go home at that point, but we don't allow them to feel sorry for themselves, and we've got really good leadership on the team, and I think it really speaks to the kids' character. We're going through a really rough stretch, and they refuse to quit. We hold our opponent to 30% shooting, and we make 2 more field goals. The rebounding is basically dead even, and you lose a close game, So it's not big things, it's little things. It's a possession here, it's a possession there. In that stretch where we went scoreless is what really got us.
Women will also be hitting the court in Sartain Hall tomorrow night, taking on the Owls of FAU. Their game will be prior to the men's game and is set to begin at 5:15. And the countdown is on till opening day. The Trojan baseball team will be opening with a home series against Central Michigan in just a month's time, and 2 of the Trojans have received several preseason honors. The 2 Tylers, senior shortstop Tyler Hanna and senior right-hander Tyler Ray, have both been named to the 2012 preseason All-American team by the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association. Both players were also named to the 2012 Louisville Slugger preseason All-American list by the Collegiate Baseball newspaper. The season will begin on February 17th at Riddle Pace Field. So while baseball season is still a month away, there's plenty of action for Trojan fans to go out and see, as both the basketball teams will be home Thursday and Saturday night. So we hope all the Trojan fans that can get out there will be there to support the teams.
I'm sure they will. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, find out how Troy University is celebrating the new year in today's edition of Trojan Talk.
Plus, yesterday's wet weather brought some cooler temperatures today. How long will the dip in the temps last? Derica?
Well, according to tomorrow will be a nice cool day, but we may not be that lucky for the weekend. I will have details coming up next in weather.
Welcome home, man.
from the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University. You're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
Now, Derica James joins with a look at weather.
So, Derica, unlike yesterday, today was very, very nice. It was a little cool outside, but it was sunny for the most part. Will we be seeing more rain, or will we be seeing more sun come this weekend?
Well, this weekend is not going to be all that great, but it's going to end on a good note. But I'll get into that later. But first, let's look at our campus snapshot. We see that it's already night here in Troy, but it's a nice night already. There's no rain as for right now. And as we go into our current conditions, we see that skies are clear. Temperature coming in at 52 degrees. Dew point is at 34 degrees. Humidity is at 48%. Barometer is at 30.13 inches and rising, with winds coming from the northwest at 10 miles per hour. Today's statistics: a high of 54, low of 29. There was no rain. Sunrise was at 6:43 a.m. and the sun should set at 5:05 p.m. As we look at temperatures around the state, it's been pretty cool around Alabama today. Huntsville coming in at 44, Birmingham at 46, Montgomery at 53, Troy at 52, Phoenix City at 55, and Dothan and Mobile coming in at 60. As we look at the southeast, we see that it's pretty cool also across the southeast. Some places are actually seeing as low as 34, as up in Nashville, with a high in Miami at 80. But as we look at the United States as a whole, we see that some parts of the West are actually seeing some negative degrees. Right here in the Dakotas and in Montana, they're actually seeing some negative temperatures. And that's mostly because they have a lot of things going on right now. A high pressure system above them with a stationary front coming through, low pressure system also with some snow systems in there, giving them that cool weather. But as we look into our areas, the winds are nice and calm right now. We have some high pressure systems sent out to the west of us and to the north of us. And we see that cold front has came through, and we're actually seeing a little increase in temperature. But as we go into the next 48 hours, we see we may not be experiencing any rain in our area. As we look at Thursday, there's nothing really for us to be worrying about on Thursday. On Friday, we see that a chance of rain has come up, probably about 30%, only going to be producing about a half an inch to an inch of rain, but you still want to have that umbrella. On Saturday, that's our greatest chance of rain, about 60% chance, with actually an increase in how much we get, probably about an inch to an inch and a half of rain on Saturday. But on Sunday, that rain should move out, and it'll give a nice clear day to end the weekend. As we look at tonight, clear skies, no rain, light winds coming from the northeast at 4 miles per hour with a low of 32. Then tomorrow, it's going to be sunny, mostly cool like today, with winds coming from the south at 9 miles per hour with a high of 66. And as you can see, you're going to need a couple jogs almost throughout the whole day until you get into afternoon where you can go for a nice jog. But as we look at our 4-day forecast, you see that it's going to be pretty nice throughout the week until you get into that weekend with PM showers on Friday and that 60% chance on Saturday with the temperature staying about the high 60s and 70s. So as you can see, Tiffany, the weekend is not going to be so great until the end. So we can't end on a good note.
Yeah, it's sad to see that it start with rain coming in, but it'll be good to see next week start with some sun in our area. So that's exciting.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derica.
Welcome.